I can tell you already, it feels completely different up here.
Stucco is just a form of siding, no matter what anybody tells you.
Sign up to Patreon and we'll talk about everything that we've done
illegally
to skirt the law on this.
Good morning, it's Monday. We're back on site, and over the weekend we had our installation crew in here and they got the bats all done on the exterior walls in here, and it looks great. It feels nicer in here. There's a cool thing where the acoustics completely change once you get everything insulated up. It feels cozy in here already. It already starts to feel more comfortable, like right off the bat. So over the weekend, we had a crew here installing the bat insulation on the exterior walls. But right now, we've got a crew upstairs, and they're getting prepared to blow in a product that we're using called TimberHP. It's a blown-in insulation, no fiberglass, completely manageable by hand. I think Sasha might have talked about it last week, but this stuff is awesome. It's made out of wood treated with boron or boron. You know what? I'm not going to go into what it actually is. It's made out of wood fibers. It's made in the United States, completely safe to handle, great for people that have different types of allergies, and it gets a pretty good R value. So the preparation for that is we get screen on the ceiling. They come in with a big hose, they blow it in, and we have to add straps in afterwards so that we can get our drywall up. So let's go check in on what that process looks like, and maybe we'll talk to the insulators. So here we are, we got the insulation pros here. We got our netting.
Okay, first thing we do, we got to full fill the ceilings. First thing we do is put up this netted material that holds it up into the base. You got to staple it out real good. If not, it'll yet pull out on you. But once we get this up, we'll do a little slice in it, slide the hose in, and fill it with insulation. That's awesome. Pretty much an easy procedure.
We love it. This stuff is awesome. We got to use it on our project in Bryn Mawr, so this is actually our second time using this stuff with the same crew over here. So they're familiar with it. It works with their equipment, and it will work to insulate our roofs. So here we go, moving all the stuff out to the truck. Can you guys tell just by looking about how much insulation, like our value, that you get from in here?
Can we tell how much R value it is?
Yeah.
It just goes by whatever joists are, because we're basically dense packing it.
Okay,
So,
that's packed. And then you go by like inches maybe?
Yeah. Like it has on our ticket, like the R value, but it's probably a little bit more than that because it's getting dense pack in there.
Okay.
And
enormous day, installation day at our historical Reno. So we have the street blocked off. We have our installation truck in there blowing in our TimberFill HP up in the 3rd floor and the 2nd floor roof. We should have a permit for that. We tried to. We really tried our best. We applied for a street closure permit 3 weeks in advance, which we need 10 business days. And the last day, the city bounced it back and wanted a copy of our building permit. I uploaded it. They had a reference number, so we're gonna keep our fingers crossed. If you're watching this video, that means we did not get in trouble yet, and we insulated successfully. So check it out.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. So we are insulated, and sound detailing, it's actually working really well. You can probably hear the difference right now. We're using bats of rock wool insulation for the walls, interior and exterior, and all of our exterior walls we're using rock wool. On any exterior walls and against masonry, we're worried about thermal...
Can't see right there, perfect.
So on any exterior walls, we're using either mineral wool insulation or blown-in TimberFill from TimberHP. This stuff is vapor open. It's not gonna mold, get any mildew. Has a great flame spread rating, so it's Class A flame spread for the E something 84. Stuff's not going to catch on fire, and it's going to prevent fire from happening by limiting the amount of oxygen. Same as rock wool. I like this because it comes to our job site carbon negative. It's made from like scrap lumber and wood that's not really suitable for lumber production or sheathing production. So it arrives carbon negative. It's made in the United States. I think their plant is in Maine, their first plant. And they've been using wood for insulation for decades in European countries. I think Germany has a product called Gutex that we've actually wanted to work with, but we couldn't justify the cost of importing an insulation that was supposed to save carbon, then having to freight it across the world. So really cool they have something here in the States, and it's actually it's really nice having insulation that you can pronounce everything on the ingredient list. It's wood. They treat it for flame retardants and insect retardants, but other than that, it's pretty straightforward. Still gonna be wearing a mask, still blowing it in. Yeah. So bats in the wall, mineral wool. In our basement, we have bats of mineral wool. We framed the walls at 24 inches on center, less thermal bridging, less lumber, less cost, and it's gonna perform a little bit better. We held everything off the walls, so yeah, basement. If you look in here, in between all the joists that we sistered and leveled out, we do have mineral wool insulation. So we're gonna come through and make sure that that's supported and then install the floor. So the crawl space should be pretty nicely conditioned. Basement's done. This whole thing is about 2 days to insulate, and we have stopped doing insulation ourselves. It's not something that we can't do, but we can't do it as productively. We can't get the same discounts having a company come through, and Red Lion is the company that's a subsidiary, the one that we work with, the True Team. They're phenomenal.
You gonna talk about Puke Smith?
Puke Smith. One of the bad guys called our guy Luke, called him Puke Smith.
And that's comedy.
Pretty funny. Fiberglass for noise in the bathrooms, and you can see that the installation crew has come through this morning and installed the netting. So what they're gonna do afterwards, they're gonna cut little holes in there, throw the hose up there, and then pump the wood fiber insulation until the density is kind of to touch exactly where it needs to be. After that's done, we'll put a vapor barrier. We're gonna use Vaporwise by Benjamin Abdike. We're gonna staple that up, pull our wires down, and then put a track there so that we have a little service cavity for our drywall, and that's gonna encourage drying and airflow. It's already like quiet and hot in here. This is awesome.
Yeah.
So this is a pretty cool corner right here. 3 different insulation strategies. Mineral wool bats right up against the masonry, vapor open, great thermal performance. Up on the roof, we're doing the TimberHP blown-in stuff. And in between the shower and the bathroom, we are doing fiberglass just for some noise attention. Pretty cool.
You ever seen the trick of like you use your hand for to tell how well done a steak is?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing to tell how full your
bats are. So yeah, it's what is it? Medium rare, rare, well done, and then the one right here.
It's a knuckle sandwich.
Knuckle sandwich. So we got R23 in the walls and still have a little bit of room. So these guys have gone through and blown it out. We got here about 8:30. It's about 12:30 right now, and all the netting is up, and we're about a third of the way blown in. I don't know. I think my favorite part about insulation is we're that much closer to closing the walls up. Still so much work left to do after we get the drywall hung, but it's a big milestone. We've been looking at the same open studs and open framing for the last like 6 months, dealing with the same neighbor bull, dealing with the same city and permit issues, which, not mad at the city, mad at the neighbors. Love you, Philadelphia. Like and subscribe. It's just like a turning point of the project. So all the detailing that we've done, we get to forget about, and then get to really see what this project's going to look like. The house actually starts to feel bigger when you drywall it, which is counterintuitive, but really big milestone. Audrey talked about this, but last week we passed our framing inspection, which is the biggest thing in this project. That covers our plumbing, our HVAC, our structural carpentry, our masonry, or masonry as Brandon would say. It means we've had all of our special inspections done. It means we've been in compliance with everything. We're still kind of riding high on that. And then you get to see insulation get knocked out like this. And then we're going to see drywall. That's going to be pretty massive. I'm going to go back and check in with reality because we're still probably getting sued by the neighbor on that side. It is what it is. I just talked to the city about the violation from our heli ties. And I think that they've removed that because the guy won't let us actually fix them, or he doesn't want us to fix them, or he's looking for an argument. Again, if this video comes out, that means we got away with our installation with no permit. So
It's not that we don't have a permit for installation. We still have a permit to close the street.
Street closure. That's true. I'll cut all that out anyways.
Sign up to the Patreon for the raw, unedited footage.
Sign up to Patreon and we'll talk about everything that we've done
Illegally.
to skirt the law on this. If you want to get us in trouble, we have behind the scenes footage on our Patreon page, link up there. $6 a month, $8 a month. Is it worth it to see us go down? Probably.
This is my second time using this stuff. I used it the first job for use. But I mean, it's all right to deal with. You know, it's a little bit hard at first to get used to it with your machine and the dust and all, but it's pretty much like blowing cellulose. It's dusty, and, you know, but it's not itchy or anything, so that's a good thing. But it seems to pack in very well. The coverage is awesome.
Yeah.
We did that whole ceiling, the third floor, and half of the second floor with 32 bags.
Wow.
So that made good covers on that stuff. But
Cool.
yeah, it was pretty good blowing it. After the first time we used it, we kind of got the hang of it, how to set the machine.
Yeah.
And how to handle the material, so this time went a lot smoother.
Awesome. Cool. So like an easy learning curve.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So like we know why we like using it for like ecological reasons. For it's it's made in America. Obviously, there's no fiberglass in there. So like those are all things that we as like the builders like. But as you as the installer, you have a unique kind of opinion. You guys get to see a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
So cool. Nice to know that it's.
I like using it. It seems to cover very well. It blows in nice, like packs in nice and tight. So
Hell yeah.
I think it makes a great sound barrier and all.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate it. We appreciate you guys' work too. You did
Not a
great
problem.
job.
Not a problem. I appreciate the work you're giving us.
Of course. All right, man. Thank you. Hell yeah. So this is what it looks like after they're done insulating. It's mostly held up by this netting here, but we're going to go ahead and add some strapping up on the ceiling there to get our drywall up. We don't want this pushing down on the drywall, so we're going to fur it all out. As you can see, they go through, pull down the wires, open up all the vents. And yeah, I can tell you already, it feels completely different up here. It's much quieter. It is warmer already. And yeah, it's a very noticeable difference. So that's it. more to come. Guys, it's only Monday.
It's been 2 weeks without citrus 3 milligram pouches. Found some in my tool belt. Brandon immediately confiscated them from me.
Looking out for our boss.
I hate to say it, but he's on thin ice.
We need you here for a long time.
What are you gonna get? Lung cancer?
I don't know. Lung cancer? We'll find out. I'll be the test subject.
You guys hear all this back talk, right?
Insubordinate. Citrus in. These are the you can get.
Shut the f up!
Where are they? Alright guys, we're gonna continue. Vapor barrier party, turning into a tape party, turning into a drop in the ceiling down party. And one of my favorite parts about insulation is it's the first time that the walls get closed up. You know, that we start to see what this place is gonna look like. You know, then we start to learn why we start in the middle, not the ends.
We were starting from one side.
Ends look pretty. In this climate, what we're most concerned about is interior produced moisture leaving out and condensing on the bottom of our roof deck. That being said, we also want some sort of drying potential. So we're using a cool product called Vaporwise by Benjamin Obdyke. It's actually, we have early access use to this product. We used a lot of Intello in the past. We used a lot of Sega air barriers. This is our first time working with this Benjamin Obdyke product and works really nicely. Easy to handle. It's strong. It's easy to cut. We're using blown wood fiber insulation from TimberHP. We're still pretty new with that stuff, so we didn't want to mess around with using a vapor barrier as the netting for the blown in insulation. You know, as we start to get more comfortable with it, we'll be able to know how to, you know, overcut our holes to let air come out. But this is our air control layer and our vapor control layer, and we just didn't feel comfortable using that as our netting yet. So after our netting goes up, we have to install this on top of that, and we are strapping down with 1.5 inch 2x on the flat. This will give a nice little service cavity, get some drying potential. It keeps us from slamming the vapor barrier up against the bottom. We're gonna get about 1,000 square feet done in one day of kind of complicated stuff, and we gotta do a little more shimming. You know, wood's not necessarily straight, and we need to come with a string. So the odds that all of our pieces of wood are bent in the exact same degree is unlikely. So we're gonna have to shim through with probably some cuts of plywood. We all closed up in there?
Follow me.
A
little bit more to do.
Tired. Just wrote a really strongly worded email to the neighbor's insurance company. Just being like, dude, stop letting this guy do his own research. So that's probably one of the most draining things about this project, the constant like litigious nature of everything. And that's something about dealing with the city. But good looks coming into this this project. Insulation's up. Most of the debris is gone. Basement insulated with mineral wool. On the back side of that manifold, that's a clean looking manifold now.
As my what now?
As your boss,
What do you need?
I'm gonna need you to communicate better with me, okay? Let me know when you're going to get the camera so we can prepare for filming.
What if I don't?
This is insubordination. I don't appreciate the talk back. I think you're just supposed to do what you're told.
No, I'm just asking, like, is there a repercussion? I'm not saying I'm not going to. I'll do it. I'm doing it right now.
Yeah. You're talking back.
Whatever you
That's
need.
what
No,
you're doing.
I'm not
That's what you're
trying.
doing.
I'm not
You're
trying.
being insubordinate.
No, I'm not trying to. I'm sorry, sir.
It's okay. Don't let it happen again.
But if I don't, it's not if I don't.
I'm just gonna have to talk to payroll about some stuff. I don't know if it's related to you or not, but I do have to call them actually.
What size is our next piece? What are we doing? So, after having the insulation blown into the ceiling roof spaces, we had to cover everything with a vapor barrier. We'll go through and we'll tape up all these seams. And then we have to add furring strips because we don't want the insulation, the weight of the insulation pushing down on the drywall on top, causing screw pops or nail pops, things like that in the future. This will give a nice sturdy surface. Right now we're nailing everything up. We'll go back and throw some screws and everything so it's not just relying on nails. And then we'll have a beautiful space for our drywall to attach to. I can't wait, coming soon.
Not a step.
Can you start the level on that?
Yeah. That's still out there?
Guys, it is a busy Thursday and we passed our installation inspection yesterday. So walking you guys around, we got a drywall delivery coming up tomorrow. So we were just prepping a couple of loose ends. So hopefully on Saturday morning or Monday, this thing gets closed up and we don't get to see it again. So we went by and did some full video walkthroughs just so we have for our records, about 10 minutes of just getting into details about where wires live, where pipes live, where drill hazards are. And just see conditions that we might want access to the information once the drywall goes up. But check it out. You might be wondering why we insulated some of these interior walls, and it's because this is a powder room. You might have a dinner party over there and have had Chipotle. You want some noise separation for this. So it's actually amazing when there's heavy traffic outside and you come in this room, no door, no drywall up. The sound is pretty noticeably quieter. Same thing exists on these party walls. By code, we're not required to have insulation there just because it's a neighbor's house, it's conditioned, it is an interior party wall. But insulation's cheap and it's easy when everything's open like that. And right now, Jamar is running the gas line to the range. We know we're using a gas cooktop. We typically do induction. That being said, even if we're roughing in a house, we'll put a gas line in. It's a nice feature. Sometimes people want gas. We're trying to wean our customers, clients, homeowners away from natural gas, but it still cooks that steak pretty nicely. Speaking of cooking steak pretty nicely.
Brisket for the brisket. Tractor Supply special.
Jamar, where'd you get that cap?
Tractor Supply. Make sure you visit your local Tractor Supply. They have chickens, ducks, grill pellets, coal, charcoal wax.
Good flannel shirts too.
Yeah.
Jamar, one more plug. What's your company's name? How do we find you?
Honest Plumbing and Heating. You can type in Honest Plumbing and Heating Services.com and you'll find us there. I said it right, boss? Honest Plumbing and Heating Services.com. Yeah, right. There we go. Yeah.
Tell me something about yourself outside of the trades world. What do you like doing?
I like long walks on concrete and watching the sun melt.
Some people want to see the world burn.
No, yeah, like fishing, writing poetry, performing poetry, writing music, performing music, and I love pizza. That's it.
Today's the day we bring pizza, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Promised you pizza.
There you go.
One of the things that I always forget is that there's more to life than just building houses. And yeah, man, I trying to put more time into my hobbies, travels, reading books, learning, educating. Even if it's stuff in the building world, it's very easy to get sucked into the minutia of the day-to-day, especially in older projects where they don't stop fighting back. So Thursday, we usually do team lunches. I'm gonna run out and get some pizza. We got the electricians here. We got our crew here. We got Jamar's crew here. Maybe we'll get the Stucco guys here today. Got a lot of pizza.
Back to me a bit.
What are you guys doing?
We are installing this door for the final time. We just trimmed this door down so it's going to be flush with the exterior. We can get our 7/8 inch casing on there, 5/4 casing on there. That'll give something for the stucco to die into. It'll be nice and clean lines. It's going to look beautiful, perform great. This is the original door, so we've done a lot of work on this thing to preserve it and keep it useful.
So when you're doing work in this vicinity, you're going to be using a pneumatic jackhammer, right? Causing...
Oh, yeah. No, anywhere where we're near this wall in particular, we actually have a Milwaukee wrecking ball that we just swing around for no reason. We use vibrational instrumentation just willy-nilly for really just our own fun. And we also send Brandon just like head first into the concrete at least twice a day.
I don't carry this thing around for nothing, all right? I just gotta check the structural integrity of our house by hitting the one next door.
That's a Brazilian hammer.
Yeah.
And you'll note for the record that Adrian is using an M12 that runs on spite and small batteries.
Check this.
If you can't tell, we're salty and petty and starting to get annoyed with the details, the minutia, and we are ready to get this place drywalled up so we can start to really pick up speed.
Green Building Army, what is going on? It's Friday, my shirt's blue, and we're out here today because the drywallers are here. The drywall is in the building. So it's our last chance to really kind of button up some details before we don't have access to these walls anymore. A lot of what we need to get done is done, but here's a little detail we like to do using the leftover bits of insulation is throw them under the tub. We're going to insulate all inside of the tub here. So just wanted to point that one out real quick while I'm doing it. Stay tuned. We're going to show some shots of our drywall. We also, big day for us, have stucco getting started up on the 3rd floor roof. So things are happening inside, things are happening outside. It's Friday, baby. We love Fridays almost as much as we love Mondays. Let's go. What's going on, guys? We got our mason out here, Jimmy O'Neill. He's having a look at this back wall. His guys are here working on the stucco. Looking really good so far. Seems like something where like the prep work really sets these guys up for success, right? So
Correct. What you don't get to see is what matters. System here keeps the house dry. The stucco's just to look at. This isn't right, completely right. It's completely wrong. So you got to dial these in and make sure they're tied together properly, or you're going to pay the price down the line.
yeah, so we have a whole video series on YouTube right now about stucco and why stucco is bad for houses. And maybe that might be a bit of a sensationalist. So what are we doing here that's going to be different, that's going to allow for this to not be a bad stucco job?
So the system itself is what, again, is really what you're paying for and what is behaving properly. Stucco is just a form of siding, no matter what anybody tells you. The name of the game here is to allow air in to aspirate water out as a vapor. And you do that with this pieces of the system that allow this stucco material to not become problematic. So you'll see here 2 layers of paper, then there's rain screen, which is a spongy type material that looks like water wants to run down it, which it can, but it's more for bringing air up. And you're creating a like a circle type effect where air's coming in, breathing out. And your stucco can then behave properly because of the system behind it.
That's awesome. So that's the whole name of the game, is getting vapor to be able to move in and out. Once you trap that vapor in there, if there's no way for it to get out, that's when it starts eating up all the wood, starts leaving you with nothing but dirt behind that product there. So awesome. Glad we got this guy in our team here. This is not the first time we've had Jimmy on the program. If you go back and look, Sasha did a cool little interview with him, and you'll see him pop up. This is the man, guys. So he's got the shirt. If you don't have an O'Neill shirt, then
You got to get on the list.
then I don't trust you. So, yeah, awesome, Jimmy. Thanks for coming out, man.
Thank you.
We appreciate the guys getting work done here today. And yeah,
Good stuff, man.
until next time. See you
Cheers.
soon.